Epicurus, 341 to 270 before Christ, was a Greek philosopher and the founder of Epicureanism, a philosophical school that has left a lasting legacy on Western thought. His ideas have shaped discussions on ethics, pleasure, the nature of the universe, and the role of fear in human life. Through his life, teachings, and writings, Epicurus sought to address human anxieties and promote a way of living that led to tranquility and happiness. His school, the Garden, became one of the major philosophical centers in ancient Greece. This essay will examine the core aspects of Epicurean philosophy, including its views on the nature of the universe, pleasure, the gods, and death. Epicurus and his school. Epicurus was born in the year 341 before Christ on the island of Samos, a colony of Athens. His philosophical career began when he moved to Athens in the year 306 before Christ, where he founded his school, famously known as the Garden. Unlike other philosophical schools, the Garden was open to women and slaves, emphasizing the egalitarian nature of Epicurus' teachings. The key goal of his school was to foster an understanding of how to live a tranquil and happy life. Epicurus' philosophy was a reaction to the uncertainties of the Hellenistic world, where wars and political conflicts caused widespread anxiety among the people. Atomism and the nature of the universe. One of the fundamental principles of Epicurean philosophy is its atomistic conception of the universe. Influenced by the atomist philosophers Leucippus and Democritus, Epicurus taught that everything in the universe is composed of atoms and void. These atoms are indivisible, unchangeable, and eternal, and all things arise through their interaction and movement in the void. There is no inherent purpose or teleology in the universe, meaning that natural phenomena are not caused by the intervention of the gods but are the result of the combination and separation of atoms. This materialist understanding of the universe had profound implications for the Epicurean worldview. By denying any divine intervention in the natural world, Epicurus freed his followers from the fear of gods and fate. According to him, celestial events such as eclipses or lightning were not signs of divine wrath but natural phenomena that could be explained through the laws of physics. This view allowed Epicureans to live without fear of the whims of the gods, pleasure as the supreme good. At the heart of Epicurean ethics is the notion that pleasure is the supreme good and the ultimate end of life. However, the pleasure Epicurus refers to is not unrestrained hedonism or the pursuit of immediate physical pleasure, but rather a state of tranquility and absence of pain, known as ataraxia. For Epicurus, true pleasure is found in moderation and wisdom in choosing pleasures that lead to inner peace and a balanced life. Epicurus distinguished between natural and necessary pleasures, natural but unnecessary pleasures, and pleasures that are neither natural nor necessary. Natural and necessary pleasures, such as food and water, are essential for survival and should be satisfied in moderation. Natural but unnecessary pleasures, such as luxuries, can be enjoyed but are not essential for happiness. Finally, pleasures that are neither natural nor necessary, such as power or wealth, should be avoided as they lead to restlessness and suffering. Critique of the fear of death. One of the most influential teachings of Epicurus is his approach to death. According to Epicurus, the fear of death is one of the greatest causes of human anxiety, and eliminating this fear is crucial to achieving ataraxia. In his famous letter to Menicius, Epicurus argues that death should not be feared because while we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we no longer exist. In other words, death is the total absence of sensation and consciousness, and therefore cannot be something painful or fearful. Epicurus' approach to death reflects his materialist view of the soul. For him, the soul is composed of atoms that disperse upon death, meaning there is no afterlife. This belief in non-existence after death freed Epicureans from the fear of eternal punishment or suffering after death, allowing them to live without worries about what would happen after they die. The gods and religion. Epicurus did not deny the existence of gods, but his conception of them was very different from the traditional one. For Epicurus, the gods exist in a state of complete happiness and tranquility in the spaces between worlds, intermundia, and have no interest in human affairs. Because of this, humans should neither fear the gods nor expect rewards or punishments from them. The Epicurean gods do not intervene in the world nor are concerned with human behavior. Religion, according to Epicurus, was a source of fear and superstition that caused unnecessary suffering. By teaching his followers that the gods did not interfere in human life, Epicurus sought to free people from the religious fears that so often disturbed their peace of mind. This critique of religion was one of the reasons Epicurus was misunderstood and slandered by some of his contemporaries, who accused him of atheism. The importance of friendship. Although individual pleasure is the ultimate goal for Epicurus, he also greatly valued human relationships, especially friendship. In fact, Epicurus considered friendship to be one of the greatest pleasures in life and one of the keys to achieving happiness. In his philosophy, Friends are a source of emotional support and comfort, and sharing life with friends provides stability and lasting pleasure. The community of the garden, where Epicurus followers lived and studied together, was a manifestation of this ideal. Instead of relying on family or traditional social structures, the Epicureans valued the creation of relationships based on philosophical affinity and the shared pursuit of tranquility. Communal life allowed the Epicureans to support each other on their path to happiness. The influence of Epicureanism in the Roman world. Epicureanism found an important advocate in Rome in the figure of Titus Lucretius Carus, a poet and philosopher who lived in the 1st century before Christ. His didactic poem De Rerum Natura, on the nature of things, presented Epicurus' ideas in a form accessible to the Roman public. Through this poem, Lucretius disseminated the atomistic and materialistic teachings of Epicurus, as well as his ethics based on the pursuit of pleasure and the elimination of fear. Although many Roman philosophers, such as the Stoics, criticized Epicureanism for being indulgent or incompatible with civic virtues, Epicurean thought continued to have significant influence in the Roman world, particularly among the upper class. However, with the rise of Christianity in the following centuries, Epicureanism was increasingly rejected for its materialism and focus on pleasure. The reception of Epicureanism in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. During the Middle Ages, Epicurus' teachings were largely ignored or condemned by Christian thinkers, who saw his philosophy as incompatible with Christian doctrine. However, the rediscovery of ancient texts during the Renaissance led to a renewed interest in Epicureanism. Philosophers like Pierre Gassendi in the 17th century integrated Epicurean ideas with a Christian view of the world, arguing that Epicurus' atomism could be compatible with a theistic understanding of creation. The Epicurean concept of happiness as inner tranquility also influenced Renaissance and Enlightenment philosophers, such as Michel de Montaigne and Jeremy Bentham, who developed ethical theories based on the pursuit of well-being and the reduction of suffering. Epicurus' philosophy, with its emphasis on pleasure, the elimination of fear, and understanding of nature, remains relevant today. Despite the misunderstandings and criticisms it has faced throughout history, its materialistic worldview and ethical approach have provided a solid foundation for many currents of thought in modern philosophy. The pursuit of happiness and inner tranquility, as Epicurus taught over 2 millennia ago, continues to be a central theme in contemporary philosophical reflections on how to live a good and meaningful life.